Today's gospel reading was a rough day for Jesus. Again, he's bombarded by the crowds such that he can't even grab a bite to eat. And two groups of people come down on him. Two groups that should really be the most supportive of all: his family and the religious leaders. Now, I'm sure that in this room we have a wide variety of lived experiences when it comes to families. There are those among us who have been let down, estranged, or even harmed by our families. That said, I'm guessing that one thing we can all agree on is that our families should be a place where we are always welcome, where we are always loved, where we can always find support. But sadly, that's not true for everyone. And today, not even Jesus. Today, we find Jesus' family going after him to restrain him. Why? Because the whole city is abuzz with stories about Jesus, and surely he has gone out of his mind. Jesus has been traveling around, healing people and casting out demons. And between what we read last week and this week in Mark's gospel, he has just named 12 apostles and told them that they can cast out demons. His family seeks him out not for a, hey, Jesus, maybe chill out a bit, people are beginning to talk and you're embarrassing the family. No, they set out to restrain him. Not a lot of compassion from the family. And if that kind of reaction from family sounds a little too familiar to you, I am sorry. It shouldn't be that way. That's not how families are supposed to treat each other. So enter the scribes, the biblical scholars, the religious authorities. If anyone should be on board with what Jesus is doing, getting rid of demons and such, it should be them, right? Nope. They start hurling accusations. If he can command demons, surely he must be a demon. Jesus has had enough, and he addresses both the family and the scribes. If a kingdom is divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. A kingdom divided against itself. Does that sound familiar? It should. And if it doesn't, all you have to do is turn on the news or scroll Facebook or whatever your social media of choice is. We are currently living in a kingdom divided against itself. Some in a house divided against itself. It's bad out there, and we're in an election cycle, so it's only going to get worse. We are a nation divided full of people. We are a nation full of people who acknowledge that we're divided, but most are unwilling to do what it takes to fix it. The plan to unite the country is those people over there need to come over here. And we believe that because they are wrong. We know what our values are, and we know what their values are. But how do we know that? Personally, from people we know on the other side? Probably not. Why do I say that? Because there's one thing we don't do anymore. Listen. Truly listen. The conversations we have with each other are often so focused on convincing them that we are right and they are wrong that we're not listening to learn. We're listening to respond. What can I say next to make my point? We're not listening non-judgmentally. The judgment has been made. They are wrong. Real listening has to be two things. It has to be active, and it has to be empathetic. We listen actively to make sure the other person knows we are actually listening, and what's more, understanding what they are saying. We listen empathetically to be able to truly understand what they are feeling and why they feel that way. You don't have to agree with them, but putting yourself in their shoes can go a long way towards understanding, not necessarily agreeing with, where they're coming from, towards working together. I would argue that we don't even really listen to learn what we believe. We are so set in our beliefs, so intent on changing their mind, that we build impenetrable walls. We guard what we believe to be true and are not willing to accept anything else. We have to look inward, not to what we believe, but why we believe it. why we value what we value. We have to do our own research outside of our confirmation biases, what our friends and like-minded folks are saying, to make sure we actually do believe what we believe and are not just blindly following others. This concept goes beyond our nation. Are we really listening to our families? Are we hearing what our children are saying, or are we positive we're right because we're the parents? I've been known to say I've been around a lot longer than you. True. But that doesn't mean I automatically know better than they do. I know differently than they do. But things are not the same for them as they were for me or for my parents. We're just different people with different lived experiences. Just because Will is 10 years old and I was 10 years old once doesn't mean I know exactly what he may be going through. I may be able to imagine what he's going through, but only he truly knows his experiences and what more, how he feels about it. How many family issues come about because one person's unwillingness to really listen, to try to understand, to honor somebody else's feelings? Listening is hard. Studies suggest that we're capable of listening and processing 600 to 1,000 words per minute, and that the average person speaks 125 to 175 words per minute. That means about 75% of our brain is left to wander and focus on what we're going to say next instead of what we're hearing. To truly listen takes concentration. It takes work. And it gets harder. Sometimes we have to be willing to admit to others and to ourselves that we are wrong. Would we be so divided if we gave grace to others and abandoned our need to be right and we just listened empathetically to others? What if our focus shifted from why is this person wrong to what are they feeling? Where would that kind of listening lead us?